the creative juices are counteracted by my actual terror, but it's fine. Hey guys, I'm Kate. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to another writing experiment video. This video was chosen by my patrons over at Patreon, where I gave them, you know, a little poll option. And they decided that they wanted to see me, a very early morning writer usually, attempt a night owl routine for 3 days straight. I've been wanting to do this for a while because frankly, it just scares me. The last time I did anything close to this was when I tried writing like Brandon Sanderson, who stays up very late into the night or very early in the morning, and that was a challenge. But my own sleep schedule has been really weird, in part because of my own physical and mental health, and the boyfriend was going out of town to a work conference, so I figured there was no better time to finally attempt the thing that scares me so much. Now, I did set up goals ahead of time, just kind of like arbitrary goals for how late I wanted to stay up, but you will see that I do not succeed at that. That said, the basic rules were that I was not going to write it all until the evening, starting at about 7:30 p.m., which is when I moved all of my Twitch live streams to. So while I didn't vlog a lot during the daytime portion of the routine, I did try and just wake up later and only do work that was not writing associated. So without further ado, let's get into the first day, where I had to go to the airport to drop the boyfriend off. My mom and dad were also in town because my mom has been going to some doctor's visits, and so we decided to meet up for a late-ish lunch at the boyfriend's favorite place to celebrate, you know, him not being there. If any of y'all are in San Antonio, this was a Taste of Asia and I cannot recommend them enough. The boyfriend says that it comes the closest to the way his grandma makes spring rolls, and this was my parents' first time going and they thought it was amazing, delightful. And after a visit with them, because they wanted to see their grand dogs and grand cat, cannot say that without laughing, it's fine, it was time to get to writing work. Okay, it is now, let's see if it'll focus, 9:33 p.m. and this was such a wonderful first stream for my night writing experiment. I had so much fun. I managed to get about halfway through chapter 2 completed, which is awesome because this one is going to require the most finagling. I think chapter 2 and chapter 3 for this first bit. That's something I said before when I was rereading my project, and it is proving true now, but I like it, and that's the best part, is that I'm still feeling very confident, which is great, as it's requiring a little bit more work. Also, I have this night owl elixir. I forgot to ask people what I should put in here. I don't know if I would have put alcohol or like candy or something. What should serve as my elixir? But I'll ask them tomorrow and then I'll do it for the final night of the experiment. But so far, so good, which is awesome. I think I'm going to take a little break and take the pupperoos out on a walk. But let me show you. As always, we have a precious baby Zelda being the most comfortable and the most uncomfortable looking positions. And then, as if to top that, we have Vin curled up around the pull-up bar, which like, how? How big, girl? Oh, a big stretch, yeah. And then Buffy's bone out here. The darkness. Well, that leads to the darkness. This is light. It's fine. For now, let us take this into the living room. Parks and Rec.
Richard Shane Jefferson will be filling in for me. Leslie, would you like to take us out?
Okay.
Some ghosties. Alright, so I almost finished the end of the chapter, which is awesome, but I didn't even make it as long as I thought. My goal was to make it till midnight, but I'm at, what is it, just now 11? and my eyes are not wanting to stay up any longer. Up? Open? All that said, for not having worked on this chapter before today at all, really, I kind of just looked at it, but I had to refresh myself after being sick and a whole bunch of other stuff. It was nice to get so much of it done today and an all in one fell swoop, which is kind of what it needed. I swear some chapters, breaking them up is harder than just doing it all at once, and that's what felt true for this one. So I have one scene left to do to finish off this chapter, but the main scene is done and good. And my other main concern being a morning writer was that it wasn't where my morning brain was. Like, it didn't matter the time so much as like those first few hours that I woke up being crucial. But I actually found today to be totally fine. In the past, when I've done experiments, if I have a long enough break, then the first hour or so is really productive for me, even if it's quite late. And I think that sort of carried over since I hadn't done any writing today and had just sort of done other work. So tomorrow I will do better at vlogging. But all that said, I think it is now time to go to bed. The precious baby girls would probably appreciate that. It is 8:21 in the morning. Yes, sausage. I've been up since 7 because of this little one. Yeah. And this little one. Yeah. So I think this experiment is going to be just as much a nap experiment as it is a night writing experiment. Baby Vin.
All right, girls, you ready to go inside?
Okay. This is actually more horrifying than I thought. So I feel like I more or less ended up working all day, just not on writing stuff. And the only downside of that is that I didn't take a nap and I am quite tired already just because I didn't get as much sleep last night. And again, I don't think that has anything to do with the time. This is not very good lighting, I apologize. So much as my girls being bad girls. I can retrain myself to switch up my sleep schedule so much easier than I can retrain them, because Zelda is like at 7 in the morning. It is time for her food and I've tried to feed her at 8 and not 7 and she still does not care. Bark bark as they run around. But it is now 7:29, which means it is time for the Twitch stream. And to write. Yay! I will say I have been thinking about Project Death all day, and for this portion of the experiment, it has not necessarily been the most fun to have to wait until now, but I am excited to just get all of it out. So let's do this. All right, just finished. Finished that scene in chapter 2. Heck yes. Got some tea, some precious baby Vin and precious baby Zeldas at the very end. Poor Zelda let out a little yip that scared some people because Vin played a little bit too roughly with her, but okay, now it is time to transport all of this. It is storming outside. I don't know if you can start to see where it's sort of begun flooding, and occasionally the lightning strikes. Hey, hey. Hey, hey.
I'm coming for you, girl. Just like you want.
Just get out there and spin now.
You got it.
Ooh. This is acting as really nice mood lighting though, I guess. It feels like I'm more scared than they are of the storm, but it's fine. I do think there is a certain magic with the sensation of feeling like you're the only ones awake or the only ones moving around, and I actually think a storm, even though it's not that late yet, just after 10 that makes me feel even more like that. Like it almost feels later because it's been dark all day and it's like been storming for the past 2 hours kind of thing where no one would be outside. So it gives this really interesting sort of, yeah, some kind of creative juices flowing. Ugh. Nah. The creative juices are counteracted by my actual terror, but it's fine. I know, rattling the house. Come on up, baby girl. It's okay.
Yeah.
Oh, good job, baby girl. Well, the power went out. It's fine, girls. It's fine. All right. It is now 7:33. I just finished making dinner. And I ended up having to cancel the stream today because the internet has been all over the place after last night's storm. Sometimes I have it, sometimes I don't. When I was doing the D&D session or the chatting session with my brothers, it just totally went out. I was left with some very fun still frames of them. However, alas, no internet. So it's times like these I appreciate working in Scrivener and not Google Docs, though when I knew internet was going to be sketchy in Google Docs, there's a way around it. But anyways, very happy to have Scrivener set up now. And without further ado, let's get to the writing and close out this chapter for real, for real. All right, scene is done. And now it is time for a new folder and a new chapter. And this is the last one. Actually, in this one, we might be hitting the road, which is exciting. So let's do this. Also, it is now 8:24. Oh, there's a sausage. But I'm feeling really good right now. That does mean that it took me about an hour to do that scene, and word count wise, it was a really short one, only 618 words, but it was one that I was changing quite a bit of. But the interesting thing about this being draft 4, quote unquote, is that I'm at the point in the story where I want every chapter to be as perfect as it can be. And that includes just the line edit flow portion of it too. Like I just want it to feel effortless as you're reading it. So it's a different level than I'm used to writing when I'm attempting to do 0 draft words basically. And because that chapter needed a decent part of it just to be completely rewritten, it meant that I needed to take 0 draft words up to being 4th draft words, if that makes sense. Some people write very smoothly and wonderfully all the time, but that's not something that I always do. I tend to just 0 draft something, get it out, and then go back and do it. So to do it all in like one continuous kind of loop, I'm finding really nice only because I know the story so well, but it is just something where I'm having to reckon with how long something should take. This of course has nothing to do with the night writing and everything to do with being a draft 4, but it's fine. Just a little revelation. I do, however, think before I move on to the next chapter, I need to take them out on a walk. So she's like, did I hear the words? Did I hear the words? So what I've enjoyed is that I will go back to my reread notes and as a refresher be like, okay, what all did I need to work on? So I'm about to do chapter 3, and you can kind of see that I wanted to bold. I basically have some options to choose between here versus what I had at the start or in the last draft. So this will be kind of fun to play around with, as I think it is a multi-scene chapter as well, and it's just the first scene that's kind of confusing. So anyways, the other part of this is that I have to go and copy paste, format, paste formatting. Okay, now I can start. Yum. I had a baby girl just come and sit in my lap. So this chapter is kind of interesting. I love how the later it gets, I've just progressively fallen farther down the couch. So basically a dynamic that I want to play with eventually is that Twilby and the armor are going to eventually have a very close bond because of things that happen with the house. But we need to go through a phase of him being a stranger to her not trusting him to her trusting him almost completely. And that's kind of their arc. And so I am playing around with this stranger versus not trusting him aspect, especially because Twilby inherently doesn't trust people. So it's just kind of interesting because I don't want to hint at her not trusting him too early because we need a few things to happen before she starts distrusting him. And then a few more things until it's complete trust. Anyways, there's a lot of evolution here, but I basically played my hand way too soon when I did the draft last time. Whereas right now, I think I need to revert back to more of a sort of ambiguity in her feeling about him. She knows that he's interested in her for some reason, but she can't guess what the real reason is yet, of course. Anyways, playing with a lot of things, as is then. And all right, that's the end of the experiment. So I do want to say that while I did not manage to make it to midnight any of the nights of the experiment, I do think that the night writing experiment was achieved in just being kind of like a late night writing session. Not into the early morn, but late night. Very late for me. I will say that I'm actually filming this at 8:52 p.m. and it's been really fun to have this kind of like hour that I've spent at night either writing, doing YouTube work, or whatever. And if you watched my fall writing routine video, it has sort of been added into my routine. I didn't think that this was something that I wanted to have regularly. I guess I just didn't think my brain was gonna like it, but I actually do. While I don't write a whole lot, that first hour and a half I found to be incredibly productive. Even the first hour and a half post stream I found really productive and really wonderful. And there is something, we have the lights on in the backyard, but it really is something to just be night and feel like you're the only one doing things. And yeah, I like it. I am a fan. I'm also hoping that it will help me during NaNoWriMo. So while I do think I will take my morning early bird gets the worm, my early bird, my morning dove, what did we figure out during the last Brandon Sanderson experiment? I do not think I have changed my ways in being a morning writer. You know, I've taken a little bit. I'm a little bit of a night writer now. But that's gonna be it for me. Please do comment down below. Let me know if you're a night owl. Let me know how that has sort of affected you as the world more or less tends to move for the early bird for whatever reason. I have a lot of thoughts on that. Even as someone who has, you know, kind of benefited from that system or from aligning with that system. But also let me know if you've ever had a drastic change, like when you went to university, were you a night writer, and then when you were working your corporate job, you had to sneak the words in the morning. And how did that sort of affect you? Did you learn anything new from this very chaotic change? But that's gonna be it for me. I do wanna say thank you once again to my patrons for helping me do this experiment. Y'all had asked for this several times over, and I'm glad you voted for it so that I could finally face my fears. I'm gonna be honest, I did forget somehow. I was so excited about this and then I forgot about it. I would look at it, but like I almost didn't need it. But I do think I'm going to try and use it during NaNoWriMo. So if you have any other suggestions for what I should put in it, I'm debating candy corn could probably fit, or wine. Wine's always good. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all very soon with the new video. Bye. I was left with some where I had to go to the airport